Hello there. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to another episode of Nerd Cave Show. We've missed you. It's been a long week, and we have some stuff to talk about. I'm looking forward to talking to about this stuff. Can't talk really to this stuff because that's just weird. But anyway,
you're really into this stuff, aren't you?
I'm into things, and yeah, stuff and things. It's fun. So I'm gonna turn Ray's camera on, and we're gonna get on with the show. Here he goes.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another, what are we going to do this? Questionable, slightly impressionable, and
are we impressionable?
Enjoyable. Nerd Cave Show.
The happy juice is always enjoyable.
Anybody's curious? Yes. Is it a red bush? I sincerely apologize. We didn't get a whole lot of social media up on proper time, so I know there's going to be a bunch of people coming in a little bit later tonight.
Better late than never.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of, didn't quite get in here. I scrambled at the last minute trying to get things done. So, going crazy. 'Tis the season, I guess.
Oh, that's an understatement.
Honestly, I'm going to say this much. I haven't been doing as much. Well, I've kind of been avoiding a lot of social media because there's just way too much negativity going out there. I mean, I know a lot of people got a lot of strong opinions, especially about what's going on, but I guess I kind of get caught up into it, and then I catch myself, and I got to get out of it. And that's kind of where I've been at lately. So,
you know, I kind of hear what Ray's saying. I get caught up in it too, and I've just been it's been getting the better of me lately. I need to take a step back and I need to focus on some much more important things. So I hear you, Ray.
Yeah, exactly. So give me just a second. I'm trying to take care of a lot of things that I did not quite get done, like on proper times. I mean,
it happens. It happens, and it wouldn't be Nerd Cave Show if there wasn't a train wreck.
No. Well, we haven't train wrecked yet. We just
no, we're good.
I literally sat down like 2 or 3 minutes. Just literally, you could ask the beard. We were like, he's over there. We're starting in 5 minutes, and I'm over the computer scrambling to get things done. And he was like,
you hear the clickety clackety of the keyboard. It's crazy stuff.
I love my mechanical keyboards. I mean, come on. They're sexy beasts. I'm not gonna lie.
It's frightening sometimes.
Yeah, it is, but I don't care. You were gonna say something.
I was just gonna ask the people how their week was going. If chime it in the chat, or let us know how you're doing. We're concerned about all of you. We love you. We care about you. I mean,
I do got this to share because I talked to you guys. We talked about it last week, and I was compelled to get it. So just to see how bad. See, this is what happens when you're single and refuse to date. I buy silly stuff. I buy stuff like this, and it wasn't just that I bought this. I bought this because I got the Steam version because you need a cable. But I'm like, but I don't want to share I don't want to have my kids playing on my computer. So I'll buy a copy for the PS4. That'll get me the cable that I can use for my computer, because they're actually, you can buy any version of this, and the USB cable is actually not from what I've been told, it is not platform specific. The cable is universal.
Let's go ahead and let the people on podcast know what this
Rocksmith.
is.
Rocksmith Remastered. I apologize. I'm glad you caught that. Appreciate that.
Hey, we're looking out for everybody here,
So after we talked about it, Rocksmith Remastered, they did the last DLC. I was like, I've got to get that again. Because I originally had it on the Xbox. So does that give me technically I bought the trifecta?
I think you did.
Because I bought the Xbox version, then I gave it to you. Mm-hmm. Then I bought the Steam version, but I needed the cable, so I bought the PS4 version. So yeah, I think I think like Pokemon, I've caught all the Rocksmiths.
You've caught them all in their various stages of evolution.
I caught them all, and the cool thing is I don't know if those guys are ever interested, get this. Like right now, they're relatively decent price. I mean, this was full price on Amazon, but the Steam version's relatively, and it's freaking music. You can't go wrong. I don't care if this is out for another few years.
That's actually what my favorite part of that game is that it's actual music, and you're actually learning the chords to the song. Mm-hmm. That's what's great about it.
And the cable is like most of the time I look at this stuff. It is a little bit better cable. Like I've seen the cheap Chinese, like me and you both have seen the cheap Chinese cables and stuff. This one
we've
more
seen them.
resembles.
We've seen them.
It does have. I like the quick disconnect here. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's like a safety feature or something. The processor chip or whatever's in there, but this connector, what I love the most, and this is. It bothers me, but I appreciate their effort they put into it. It does look like it's a molded to look similar to the Neutrik 1/4-inch connector. And is it bad if I notice that? But other than that, the cable's like really thick jacketed. I mean, it's got some weight to it. So this is not granted, the molded connector's on purpose. When you come with consumer grade stuff, you don't want something that's gonna come apart and stuff. For a professional like me, like I'll be able to cut this off and throw another Neutrik unbalanced 1/4-inch on it if I ever need to. But having a molded one is better for the average consumer because they're only going to use it for this purpose anyway. It's not like it's going to go on stage, and most of the time it's going to sit on your bed. But yeah, this is a long cable, and that's why one of the things I appreciated about this setup. I wonder if like they do this because they have different connector types for different wasn't it for the Nintendo Wii that had this, but they don't think they had the USB. I think they had an adapter that goes right in the controller port.
Did they have Rocksmith for the Wii?
I don't know. If someone can tell me, let me know. Someone post in chat.
We would appreciate that information if anyone has it.
So once again, I have bought Rocksmith. This is originally I had Rocksmith. This is the remastered 2014 edition, and I'm hoping I can get me and the kids to. Me and the kids. I know my son will play around with it. He's going to be more interested to take the controller and take everything from me, play, make some noise with the guitar for a few minutes, and then immediately shut it off and play some his Disney Infinity.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He loves his Disney Infinity. My son's a big fan of that game, even though they shut it down. Disney.
Why would they go and do something?
It wasn't as profitable. They only like big money.
Well, I mean.
I really don't think they need to get involved with gaming companies anymore because it's not high profitability.
Yeah. That's just sad.
It really is. It really is. I knew a lot of people played it, and it was actually fairly profitable or fairly popular when they shut it down. It just, the numbers didn't add up for them, and that's just the dark side of Disney is just sometimes their greed gets further in the way than anything else.
Dark side of the mouse.
All right. So last week we talked about hold on, but did we have anything else we were going to talk about? I can't remember.
Let's see. You're pulling the mind scramble on me.
Me and him babbled quite a bit right before the show, and most of it was the topics and stuff.
Yeah, most of what we were babbling on about was one of the subjects that we're going to be bringing up here in a couple of minutes. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do want to bring this up. If anybody has been watching or coming out, we have been doing now this Thursday. The Nerd Cave Show team didn't get together and play. Beard had stuff come up, and everybody else had. Unfortunately, our lives get in the way. But me and a good friend of mine, Crazy Irish, Crazy
Iris.
Iris.
Crazy Iris.
Why do I have such a hard time? Why do I have a hard time with names in general?
I don't know.
I have a hard time with names.
Because it's not a computer chip. I think your affinity is technological things.
True. I still remember to this day what the very first the 440BX was the first Intel chipset with AGP support.
And now you see what I get to put.
And I just bestowed upon you guys some worthless information. You are welcome. But
another shovel full of useless knowledge in the old brain.
There you go. Dude, I'm good. I am chock full of useless information. Well, it's the useless to you guy. I find it fascinating and interesting.
Oh, so. I find it interesting. I'm not going to say it's all completely useless. It's great for entertainment.
Happy juice tonight.
Happy joy.
But so if you guys catch it out, I've been trying to stream more often. It's really hit and miss when I can. It's usually in the evenings. On the weekends, it's with me and my daughter, if we're able to. But this weekend it didn't happen because we just had some other stuff going on. I did stream last night. We were working on the latest DLC for Borderlands 3, and that is actually turning out to be pretty good. But as soon as we get this one done, we're going to go back. And we've been doing it in true Vault Hunter mode. But we're going to go back and do Handsome Jack's Jackpot.
Nice.
The Handsome Jackpot. I'm gonna go
Handsome
back and do that
Jackpot.
one because honestly, I still love that I haven't finished it, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. It's
Nice.
kind of out there. The new one, the Tentacles ones, I like the story upon the marriage between. Geez, what are their more names? I'm having a hard time with.
You're talking about Moxie and
No. It's the marriage between Wainwright and. Geez, what's the gentleman's name?
See, I don't know.
You remember he's from Borderlands 2, and he's also in Borderlands 3. The gentleman with that you first meet when you get right at the beginning of the game. Sir Hammerlock.
Hammerlock. I was going to say there's a hammer in there somewhere.
Yeah. There's a hammer in there.
There's a hammer.
I think the whole concept behind the marriage between Hammerlock and Wainwright, I think that's a great thing. I'm not enjoying the whole tentacles things because it's giving me bad flashbacks of some anime some friends of mine tricked me into watching while drunk many moons ago, and
this sounds like
I still
an
have
interesting
nightmares about
story.
it. And that actually tainted me forever watching anything anime. If I see anything anime, I can't watch it because the first thing I was subjected to was the tentacle rape stuff, and I don't have any interest. It's like the problem is that's what I see first, and then we did the whole Akira drinking game after that, but it was still like I mean, that's hands down one of the worst things. I don't know if you ever heard of the Akira drinking game.
No.
Okay, drink once if something explodes. Drink twice if it wasn't supposed to explode. You are hammered about a quarter of the way through.
Nice.
It's a lot of okay, drink again. Okay, drink again. Was that one or two? Okay, two. Is that one or two? Well, three just to be sure. You know, you're kind of just going through it.
Nice.
But unfortunately, yeah, the first bit of anime I was ever subjected to was the very graphic tentacle sex. It was horrible. And it's just like I don't enjoy because of that, and I understand, but I just don't care. I'm not into anime. Into discussion, and the fact that even exists and that's a thing disturbs me to no end. So
You need to hunt it down and kill it.
yeah, well, there's a lot of people. Oh, but if artwork, I don't care. I'm not watching it. Keep it
It's
away from
fine.
me.
It's artwork. There's a lot of art I don't appreciate.
Yeah. All right, so moving on. Last week we discussed about the AMD Ryzen 3 3300 or 3100 and 3300s, the $100 and $120 products that are coming out. They are Ryzen 3 quad-core 8-thread CPUs. So here recently, and you can check the notes down, check the links in the notes down below. The 3300X looks to be I know a lot of people that are running older versions of the i7s because A, they're still great CPUs. B, they're really cheap price because you can get them used on like eBay and stuff for a really good price because people are dumping them to go with the the 7th and olders, to go with the 9th and 10th gens or the new Ryzens. But if we're looking to upgrade to like a 7700 because that's right in the sweet spot of cheap and good performance, the what is it? The AMD 3300X, and there's a second image I'll have you put up here in a second. Mm-hmm. It is literally within a minimal margin of single core performance to the 7700K.
Okay.
For single core processing. You'll see the second chart that's there, and I should have pulled this up, but
that chart.
There it is right there. We're talking within margin. Now, the link down below will take you to, what was it, CPU? Oh, what's the name of the page? I apologize. I threw all this together at the minute. CPU Monkey. And, yeah, 0.5% of the 7th generation Kaby Lake chip. That's pretty good. That is really, really good. The new Ryzen 3 is going to be the best once it drops, is going to be the best, because I don't think the Intel 7th gen, it'll probably come down in price now, but those are still selling because they're still well wanted for their performance. But a Ryzen 3 3300 is relatively close, and for the price, you're not going to be able to beat it. The new Ryzen 3 is going to be the entry-level gaming rig king for a while once it drops. No joke. It's going to be just a brutal CPU. Now, the Ryzen 3 3300X will not have an integrated GPU, so you will need to buy a graphics card for it. So that is going to bump your rig up, I'd say on the low end, $150 for that's a 1650, 1650, about $200 for a 1660 with a Ryzen 3 is going to be a decent 1080p rig system. I mean, that's going to be a good, well-rounded 1080p gaming rig.
All right.
I can see a lot of people trying to do budget builds rocking the Ryzen 3 3300X and a 1650 or a 1660 if they can swing it. Maybe even the AMD, but honestly, I'm just a big fan of for the budget end of things, the 1660. That's kind of my budget-friendly, favorite card right now.
Okay.
If you had to swing it, I would say a 2060.
All right.
But and a quad core is more than ample for playing most games. I mean, there's a lot of games that are still only like dual core optimized.
What game? I mean, just off the top of your head, if you know, like, what games would you need something like? Would that be a minimum for?
For like a quad core?
Yeah.
Just about any of them.
Oh, okay.
You got to remember, a lot of the vast majority of games are using. It really depends upon the game and the company, because they've got to write the code specific for multi-threading.
Oh,
so
okay,
in order like if you look back in the days like Quake 2, Total Annihilation, Unreal Tournament, those were all single thread, single core. That's because back in those days, that's all we had. So if you run those today, all you need is really fast single CPU, but any modern CPU is going to run that. The processor is going to be bored.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I'm running this again, am I?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
then I'll just go ahead and take a nap.
Yeah. Just give me something else I can work. Can you render something? I need something else to do. You know?
I can do 3 other things at once.
Yeah. Exactly. But the bulk of like I said, the bulk of the games I know of, there's quite a few of them that are running quad core, and a lot of times it's how they optimize. Like, one CPU or 2 CPUs will be doing all the math calculations. Another CPU will be handling network code and other stuff. It just depends on how they divvy up the workload.
Okay.
And split it up. Back in the day, like I said, it was all one single CPU, but then they had to go to multi-threading, so they had to the programmers had to wrap their heads. All right, how do we do this? And then what is the best way to optimize? Like, what do we offload into what CPUs? This can be combined? Because back in the day, the big thing, like, we had the Core 2s and then we had dual CPUs. Well, still even then, barely few people optimized it. So what would happen is you had games running on one, and the CPU would just use up the other the other core. Then quad cores came out, so gaming companies were like, well, let's start looking into dual core and quad core optimizations, and they started doing that. Now we're getting 6-thread and 6-core, and now the 6. I think 6 is a pretty much common. Quad core is still pretty much the common thing right now, and that's what most companies are optimizing for. But when you get a 6, they're assuming that, okay, we're going to optimize to 3 to 4 threads for games, and then we're assuming that the other 2 threads or the other 2 cores are going to be utilized by the usually because they're streaming. Now, it could be more than that. I mean, they could be optimizing for 4 or 5 threads, just not as heavy of a workload. So the what we call hyper-threading on Intel, I can't remember what AMD names it, but it's essentially the same thing. It's where they can execute two threads or 2 different instructions on a single CPU. And the way it works is you've got a whole clock cycle. Well, it can execute X amount of code in a single clock cycle. Well, sometimes this little calculation it needs to do goes like this, and it only ate up a portion of the clock cycle. So there's a whole bunch of other. Well, with hyperthreading, you can go, I execute this, then this, and then that's a whole. They can actually do two functions in a single core, but hyperthreaded.
Okay.
Or I forget what AMD calls it, and it really upsets me. So, they can kind of do that unless you got an intensive like stuff like Adobe Premiere and stuff like that, where it'll max out your CPUs, and hyperthreading really doesn't do you a whole lot of good unless the program is optimized to split it up into this section, this section, this section. It can rapid fire off on all of the cores. Okay. One of the problems we had back in the days is whenever we first started getting hyperthreading, I think Linux had this big issue where it would recognize the hyperthreading cores as full-blown cores, and the system performance would tank because rather than trying to execute two threads through a single core and hyperthreading mode, it was saying, no, there's full-on cores, and it's trying to shove these big processes down both hyperthreadings, and the CPU's just going brrr.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. So,
okay.
But through optimizations, they got better with it over time.
Okay.
And there's been talk about them eliminating hyperthreading with all the multi-cores, but doesn't look like they're going to.
Right.
Because there was some security flaws with it. But
yeah.
Okay. Quad core is definitely the sweet spot. I've been happy with the quad core, but now I'm once I went 8 core because I do a lot of video rendering, so I recommend getting 8 cores if anybody's out there, because your OBS would be oh so happy. But the best budget gaming rig is going to be here's the other thing. The 7700K I think is a 95 watt TDP. I can't remember what the 7700K was, but the Ryzen 3 is going to be a 65 watt. It's going to be using less power too.
Oh, okay.
But it's also comparing a 7th gen i7 to a third current Ryzen 3. But I still think that's absolutely phenomenal because that I have to check out prices. I haven't looked in a while. But
We'll have to take a look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely check that out. So where are we at on time?
We're good.
We're good? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
We're just a little over 20 minutes in.
But yeah, when it comes to networking code and stuff like that, it's one of those deals where it really comes down to the companies. And like I said, I'm kind of theorizing on how don't expect me to know how they program stuff, because I tried my hand at programming. The farthest I ever got was slight modifications of PHP and stuff like that. Any further than that, I'm lost. I'm quite confused.
You know how I feel usually when you're talking about stuff.
Yeah, I know. I can slowly pick things up.
Yeah, right?
But I never quite got my head around programming. And I really wanted to for a while, but I mean, I used to do programming HTML and CSS and everything else, but then they started going into more deeper programming language, Ajax and everything else, and they decided, we want to change out the programming languages like we change out our underwear, and I was just like, I'm done. You guys have fun with it. I don't care anymore. We'll all just use WordPress and you guys just figure it out,
We'll use WordPress and you guys hash it out. I like that.
Well, that's kind of the way it was. Is like, I don't know what their deal was, but it was just like, hey, it's a new month. We should try we should have a new standard for a programming language. Really? Why? And it was just like every 6 months, somebody would get happy, joy with a programming language, and that had to be the new standard. And the amount of languages you've got to learn just to do one website is absolutely mind-boggling insane. And
it sounds ridiculous, in my honest opinion.
It is. And if you're really, really into it, you'll probably enjoy it. But
right.
It was just like, you know what? And at that time, I was getting back into working on stage. It wasn't something I could spend a whole lot of time diving my head into, so...
I miss working on stage.
Man, we'll get back into it. We'll get back into it.
That's one of the things I love about doing this show is I get to come and plug things in, and it's like a load in, a really quick load in, a show, and a load out. I'm like, okay,
I give that little fix with the XLR cables.
Yep.
Can I plug that cable in there, sir?
Can I plug anything else in, please?
Can I coil that cable, sir?
You got any Sacco around here?
I don't have Sacco. I don't. That sucks. But I do have tour badges on my desk, so
Well, see, there you go.
that helps. I need to go push a case one of these days. I miss doing that. I miss
Right.
doing that. I really do. All right, so
Sorry about that little tangent, folks.
all right, so I don't know. Is anybody talking in chat?
No one yet.
Okay,
It's
cool.
Quiet.
We've completely neglected to post anything. So
Yeah,
nobody-
people were surprised.
we've been off the past couple of weeks, so it's just one of those deals where
Yeah.
catching people. But like I said, you guys have anything to say, anything to add, throw it in there.
Please.
All right. So, anybody also, if you can hit me up on social media, just
Yes.
about anywhere /audio crazy. So, twitter.com/audio crazy, audiocrazy.com, Twitch TV /audio crazy, facebook.com/audio crazy, or /nerd cave show, nerdcaveshow.com. Yeah. And on. And on.
And on and on.
on.
Hey,
and
you
on.
can find me too. You can find me. Look up Beard and Gary. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. They're not very active pages, but I promise I'm there.
Yep. And you can go to audiocrazy.com. You see follow Beard and Gary, and I need to update those. I need to see if I got everything for you. But most of his social media links are listed on the page. Can't miss it. Top right hand, you'll see follow Audio Crazy, and then underneath that follow Beard and Gary. Most of our social media are right there. You can clicky and go. So, I think it's on to the Cave Jam.
On to the Cave Jam.
Oh, wait, we didn't. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Let me get the link up in the chat.
Happy juice. So this is the Asus AC1900, and the main reason I picked this is for a couple of reasons. One, I want to talk about something very important. But the other less, and I'll get this out of the way, this is actually the router I've been using, and I actually like this router quite a bit for several reasons. First and foremost, it is an Asus. I've been very, very happy with Asus routers over the past several years. I've been buying small, inexpensive ones for little routing, like literally having one device plug into the internet and having just that as a firewall for it. That's literally that's all I'm using it for. It just has a single device on it and with some port forwarding, and that's all that thing does. Wi-Fi is completely disabled on it. I've used them for out in the field. I've literally used them as repeaters on. Not this one specifically, but another smaller one as a repeater off of my other one. The main reason I like this one, and this one I picked out. I did some researching, and now Asus sells router, and most companies do, Netgear and all of them. They'll sell routers that get up to like $300 and more. And they do have some features in them that really do beef up the cost, and I can kind of understand it. But I'm going to tell you this. A lot of the features most people will never use. I have seen people buy the big overkill routers, put them places, and they don't perform all that well because, one, they got too much interference. Two, they're just not utilizing the features they're utilizing come on just about every router, or they're needing to come on just about every router. And the ones they've got have all this new fancy tech, has the new Wi-Fi spec, which none of their mobile devices even have. It has all these new beamforming and stuff like that, which is great. But some of that tech requires the support in the wireless devices, and of course, once again, none of their devices have. And I found this one, and I did some research on it. And this is like $137.37. It's a regular $150 router. It is a little bit on the higher price, but for good reason. One, this one is, I do recall, remember that this one was a dual processor in it. Yeah, it's a 1 gigahertz dual core CPU.
Okay.
So anytime you're doing a lot of devices over, and it's having to do the NAT translation, it's having to do all the work of routing and stuff like that, it takes a hefty amount of processing.
Okay.
So you want something with a decent amount of processing in it, because the more processing, the faster your internet's going to be, or the more at peak of performance your internet's going to be. This one, I noticed a dramatic increase to the older Netgear I had. And the older Netgear was older, but they stopped doing firmware updates.
Ah, okay.
That's going to lead me into another thing, but I'm going to get into that here in a minute. The other thing is it does have 802.11 AC 3x3 technology up to 1900 megabits per second. The range on this thing is absolutely phenomenal. I've had great range. It literally sits in my living room. I get Wi-Fi all the way in the back fence in my backyard.
Nice.
And everybody who knows where it sits in my living room is at the front of my house, right close to the wall to the outside. I go through the house, out the back door, to the back fence. I've still got like 2 bars.
Nice.
So the range is really good. My phone's set up on the 5G. Usually the 5G does not carry that well.
Very nice.
This is the router we've been using for this show for quite a few months. I think I got this router a little bit before Christmas. So I didn't want to talk about this router right away. I wanted to use it for a few months.
Right,
and
give
this
it a
thing
good
has been
test run. Yeah, make
well.
sure.
I like to make sure things work.
Actually, nothing wrong with that.
But I've had people ask me, like, what's a good router? And they're showing me the ones with all the antennas that come out. And they're like, oh, but we got all these people gaming and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I have all my kids here gaming on this. I've got multiple devices. I actually have a 24-port switch in my house that most of my devices go to. That routes over to it. It's handling quite a few packets at any given time. Multiple laptops in the house, multiple mobile devices. So the thing doesn't skip a beat. The only thing that happens is it's just my internet bandwidth gets saturated. Let's see here. Oh, there's another couple of things that it does have very easy Wi-Fi setup, but it even has a mobile device app, so you can actually do a bunch of your configuration from your like your phone.
Okay.
I don't like to use that because I'm an old school person. I like to remote into, or I like to connect into it and do my manual configurations. But if you notice on the picture here, and this is something else that a lot of my tech friends, I want you to keep an eye on. One, there's a couple of features that I really, really like, and I wanted to discuss this. One, you can have multiple guest accounts.
Okay.
Keep in mind, you want to have multiple guest accounts. And I'll explain to you this. One, you do not want to allow all your friends with their mobile devices on your home network. I love my friends, but there's a few of them I don't trust. And it's not so much I don't trust them, it's I know their internet search habits and their internet browsing habits, and I've seen their computers whenever they bring them to me because they're virus infected. I don't want them on my network with the rest of my devices, with my file server and everything else. So I have a guest network. But for those of you who have kids, this is a very important one. And let me give you guys a little story. So, my son, who is affected by autism, wirely energetic little turd. And one day I'm sitting there, I'm getting things configured and set up on my TV. He had just wiped the PS4 because he was playing around with options. And I was trying to get things downloaded back to it. And I'm sitting there behind the TV and I'm downloading this, and all of a sudden the TV kicks over to Netflix. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm looking down like maybe I hit the button. And I thought that to myself the next 3 times it did it. Not realizing that my son is hopping up and down every time the TV does it. I'm completely oblivious to me. I go over there and look. Yes. Little TV icon has shown up on his tablet. And he's hitting that button every chance he gets to get his little show that he's watching on his tablet to pop up on the TV. He thinks that's just the coolest thing. So, because of that, my son has his own guest network private to him to keep him from changing what was currently on the TV. Because this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. You cannot prevent a mobile device from sending video, from taking control of a TV through an app. The Disney Plus app has absolutely no controls. It's like, oh no, they hit a button. You obviously want it to happen because they're on the network. Like, no way of saying no, don't do it. So I had to. The only way to do it is it can't be on the same network. Fine, I'll create him a guest network. He's got internet and he's not changed the TV. You can have, I think it's up to 3 or 4 guest networks on this device. Now, let's see here. Andy Murray, each kilo would give you
$20.
I'm not sure what he says.
Yeah, it was.
You'll have to elaborate on that, Anthony.
Yeah, give us a little more information on that.
So, so beyond that, there's one other feature, and I want to tell. I've got a few friends of mine, and that's another thing that I've had some people ask me in the past, and I want to know. What's a good router that they can set up dual networks on, or dual internet connections? Believe it or not, this router can do it. This was another function of this router that I really liked. I haven't been able to chance to play with it, but I do want to play with it. And if you see the blue USB 2 port, you can plug in a USB to Ethernet adapter and have 2 separate internet connections going into that router and set it up, I believe, either for load balancing or a failover. Which the difference is load balancing is it'll send this person down, this internet connection, this person. It'll try to balance it out. You can't have one person going down both connections because it causes conflicts with IPs. It just can't be done. But you can set it up with 2 different ISPs and have this person go to, balancing is this person goes down this one, this person goes down there, then this. And every time it makes a request, it just sends the balances out, each request out, each connection. There's another option, whereas say if it's a meter connection, you only want to use it if the other internet goes out. If this your primary internet connection dies, it fails over to the other one. Sometimes you're out of internet for 10, 15 to 30 seconds, depending how it's configured, but you'll dump over. That's a really cool feature of this router, and that's normally a configuration of more business or higher-end routers. And I've seen Cisco business routers that come with them like that, no Wi-Fi, charging $150 to $200.
Wow.
So you're getting that in this, plus you're getting 4 gigabit network connections. You're still getting the USB 2. It has media sharing. If you have a USB hard drive, you can plug this into this router. And I did this. I had it configured on mine until the USB drive died. But I had a USB hard drive plugged in, and it was a network. It was like a network, a little NAS on the network.
Nice.
You had a network share that anybody can access. Even my Roku TV could connect to and pull video files from.
Nice.
So if you're looking
Seems
for
like a worthwhile investment.
No, it is. And for the price, it's really good for the feature set you get.
All right.
Like I said, there's bigger, more expensive ones. You can even actually do printer sharing. If you've got a printer that just has USB on it, you can plug that in and share it as a network printer.
Nice. All right.
I mean, most printers nowadays come with network printing, but yeah, this one to me it was the right price with all the really cool features, and the fact that this thing is one of the really good performers. I've had just amazing ping rates, great internet connection. We've had a lot less. I think you've noticed that, and you noticed, Beard, that when I got this Asus router, our connection, our internet, the streaming was just a little bit more reliable.
Yeah.
So I have been thoroughly happy with this model.
Absolutely.
They just did an update here last month. That's another thing I want to bring up. One, if you're running an older router, now I understand if you're running your cable company's router, that's what I'm not talking about. Your cable company takes care of those. If you buy your own routers, and I wholeheartedly suggest people do, but if you do that, make sure you do your firmware updates, because hackers are constantly figuring out ways of getting around firewalls. And they found a security glitch in the vast majority of firewalls out there, so it required an update to do it. So you need to be updating the firmware on your firewall. Your cable company will update theirs, but if you've got a standalone one, you need to get one. If your router has not had an update, and I'm going to say this, if you're going to look at cheap ones, if you're looking at cheap routers, go to the manufacturer website and look when the last time they did a firmware update. I was noticing some for like $20-$30, But when you went on their website, they hadn't done a firmware update since 2018.
Wow.
Don't buy one like that.
Yeah.
If they haven't done a firmware update in the last several months, don't waste your money because it isn't even a firewall anymore. They can easily get around it and easily get into your networks. Now, whether you have something that's important, that's not the question. It's, could somebody get into you? You want to prevent it as much as you possibly can.
Right.
So there we go. I babbled on this one quite a bit, but I'm very, very happy with that firewall. That is the ASUS AC1900 dual band. It's the RT-AC68U. Very good, very good. I've actually set up 2 of these for friends, and I'm ordering another one for somebody else here soon. ASUS has been making some pretty rockin' firewalls. Ever since there's a couple of companies that went under, Netgear's kind of changed some of the way they do functions, and I wasn't real happy with it. And I kind of reluctantly went to ASUS, but I went to after a few reviews, and I've been thoroughly impressed with ASUS's firewall. It was like, ASUS is a motherboard manufacturer. What do they know about firewalls? I was wrong. They know quite a bit. They make some amazing firewalls.
Nice.
Or routers, so. All right. Moving on, now that I've babbled on about a router probably a lot longer than I should have. I remember those, and I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I really did. I went pretty far on that one, didn't I?
Well, it was you haven't really gone down the tech rabbit hole in a little while.
I have not.
So,
we also haven't done gaming today either, so
yeah, it was.
we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
So, Fortnite did a musical event. The
really
Travis
cool
Scott, what was it?
Astronomical.
Astronomical.
Yeah.
And this, some people are calling it silly. Some people. Here's the thing, and and here's the big thing that got to me. I've read a couple of news articles where they called it a concert. It's not a concert.
I can see how they would.
Well, the people writing the articles really don't know much about concerts. It's
Obviously.
This is not a concert. Not from the simple fact that what I'm getting at is this isn't as good as a concert. No. I think that honestly, me and him were babbling on quite a bit about this. A concert is where you go to watch a performance live. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Absolutely.
You can't do a live performance yet in Fortnite. I don't know if they ever will. I don't know if their system can support something like that. But
the possibility.
Oh, the possibility. But this was the astronomical event. I'm sorry. This thing was really impressive.
It was very, very cool. It was, you go.
First of all, I want you guys to understand me and him's background. We both worked on stage. We've been to concerts. I've been close enough to, we've set up the pyro and been close enough to lose a few eyebrows. We've pushed cases.
No lie. Yes.
Okay. I've hurt my back on, 4/0 feeder. I've got bad tinnitus in my ears because I've lived next to PA line arrays and substacks for the for the first bulk of my adult life and not so adult life. But I have to say, to me, this was a combination of a mix of a performer's mix of music, a music video, and a scripted game. It was absolutely amazing. And if you look in these pictures, it's really hard to tell. I've got a link down below with one of the videos, and I should have put a couple of other ones. And I've watched, I showed him a few of them. And I think I literally am going to call it. This is the future of, I want to see more of these. I can honestly say this is what's going to revitalize music videos. Like, I am so upset that MTV can't do music videos anymore because they suck now.
Now, is that MTV or music videos? It sucks now.
MTV. There's still music videos out there. There's still of them do it, but it's just not as often. I'm really hoping this is going to kind of revitalize that because I can honestly say that we're going to see, I want to see more stuff like this. We're going to see more artists because there's a bunch of these artists that are playing these games. And the ability to have a performance in a game where people can interact with it is far too tempting. I'm not a Fortnite player. I've tried to get into it. I just couldn't get into it. But I would reinstall Fortnite and get my account going again just to experience these.
Mandy says, I want my MTV back. Yeah, I agree. I want MTV again, too.
But here's the way it worked out is you spawn, like if anybody knows, Fortnite, you spawn in, you have your starting area, then you get transferred to a flying bus, then you parachute out of it. Well, unlike a normal game, you parachuted out and there's a small area, they had it lit up so you can kind of tell where it was. And there was this small stage. In this image right here, you can see the stage. You floated down to it, and it had a little intro thing. Well, if you were just focused on this, and this is a standard stage trick, get there focused on one thing, you don't notice the other things creeping up in the background. And that whole thing came up in the back, and just the way they executed things, it started off to look like it was going to be like this little concert right here, and it blew up to be this performance that just encompassed the entire map. You were 360 degrees of art.
It was really, really, really cool. And I do agree with you. I want to see a lot more of this happening.
Like,
also.
What's some of your opinion on it?
I think what we're looking at with this event is a very possible, I'm not going to say it's at the absolute future, but it's a very possible future for, like you said, music videos, some virtual events. Doesn't have to be VR, could be just literally in-game. But yeah, there's a lot of different directions that this could go in. The creativity is it's limitless, depending on whether or not you have the right people working on it.
Well, here's the thing. Don't mean to cut in, but like what they're talking about in imagination was everything that people have ever wanted to do, to convey and to do. This goes back when Michael Jackson did the whole face, the face morphing, and that blew everybody away. And it's like, they can do that with this. Like, he literally was walking, he had a character, but he wanted to be bigger than life. Boom, he was. He was the monumental, like, what does somebody say? Kaiju size.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just him. Like, you looked 360 degrees, anywhere you looked, and there was these translucent dancing characters all around. And whenever he did his stomping around, he was stomping around all around the map, and you were like having to spin. It's the immersion, the fact that you were interacting in a music event, a music performance. Was just like, to me, I was sitting there, I was like, I wasn't there. No, let's get this straight right here. Travis Scott's performance at this event, this astronomical event, was huge by monumental numbers. 12.3 million concurrent players participated. That was a record for the game. 12.3 million people hopped in to be they weren't just watching. He would come down, and whenever he popped out, because they knew everybody would come right to where the stage was. He pops up and everybody explodes. You were thrown back. Then you're all running around. You got to watch the video because he pushes people back. And then when he wants to suck everybody in, they pull everybody in and funnel them down. It is just the most amazing thing. Just artistically and just ability to move people around, and you're just involved in the performance.
In that, yeah.
And what you said, the artistic wild, just they constantly changed. And what it was is they did, it was like a mashup of songs. It was only like 10 minutes long. So they cut up several songs, but they did enough for each section for it to be just this phenomenal thing.
Event. Yeah.
I want to see music videos like this where somebody releases a new track, maybe not in Fortnite, maybe in another game. I think Fortnite's a good place to start, but I'm pretty sure there's other games. Music and games and videos have nothing new. I showed Gary before him like one of the original videos I've ever seen of people making television shows that played in a game. Ill Clan was the name of a group, and they made a show called Hardly Working. You can go and search it, and I should go find it. It was originally written for 640 by 480. I was lucky to find not the original video, but I actually pulled down when they released the demo files. I have an install for Quake 2 with that, so I can launch that video at any time, and it's literally playing in the game. Like, we have come this far, and it's amazing. I'm thoroughly stoked for this kind of stuff. I've been dying. I've seen people do, like, what they'll do is they'll cut together game videos that are in sync with music. I love those, and those have been around for a long time. And there's kind of been people hodgepodging in, but I think this whole thing of just look at the size difference, and it's really crazy. But you literally go from being blasted, and there's another point where you're bound, or going back to the music video of the Travis Scott. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes I do that. I do segues with no explanation. You're like, did he turn left or turn right? But
just hold on tight and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I was completely blown away, and I wish I had been in the game when it happened. I didn't know what was happening. I heard about it after the fact. But you literally, it starts off with this little stage, but it blows up to be map the entire Fortnite map wide, which is huge. And he explodes and you get thrown back, and everybody gets thrown out in a radius. So your view of what's going on is going to be slightly different. So it's a unique experience for every single player.
Yeah, it's really cool. And here's the thing one of the things I like about it is I like how it says here at the bottom, this when they released this, they didn't just do this the one time. They had encores of
the
it.
Camera back to you.
In that, I apologize, folks. They, I'm not used to being on camera still. It wasn't just, the first broadcast is what I'll call it, but but they had encore events over that weekend. So if you didn't make the first one, you still had another opportunity or two opportunities to experience this, which is really cool because sometimes your life gets in the way. You can't make the first one, or if you're lucky enough, you can make all two, or both, or all three of them, or whatever.
As many as you want.
But I personally am going to be keeping my ear to the ground for more of these, so that we can talk about them and we can share them and get the help keep the momentum going on things like this, because it's really cool.
And here's my thought on this. And a lot of people want to know where this is going. This is going to ruin. We're not going to ruin concerts. No, please don't. Concerts have changed over the years dramatically. Please understand, concerts have never been the same. They've been constantly changing technologies. I remember years ago we setting up Foo Fighters, and they were using an Xbox 360 controller to help camera track them, so everywhere they walked there was a Foo Fighters logo underneath their feet because there were screens underneath. Technology and music have always been hand in hand.
Absolutely, always. Yeah.
I see this as a next progression. Here's what I would like to see. One, I want to see a full-on music video done in a game, and maybe not just Fortnite. Fortnite is amazing, but there is some technical limitations to it, and I think some other game engines would probably do a lot better. I want to see. I have seen some people do talk shows on VR, and I've seen them on my my little VR headset. I'm not a big fan of it. I bought it last year, and it sits more than anything else. My kids don't even like it anymore. I want to see more stuff to get into VR stuff. I really think doing VR concerts. Now, I'm not talking about VR concerts where they've got a 3D camera set up and you can pan around and see. Honestly, that's still not. I don't want to see a live concert. A concert that I could have gone to. I don't want to see other crowd members to a concert. Now, I can understand this helping. I don't say I want to get rid of those because I know there's a bunch of people that are handicapped that would probably enjoy those to a great deal. What I would like to see, and I can see this happening. One, in VR, you have artists that are running mocap, motion capture, doing a performance on stage that anybody around the world, and instead of just being them, they're moving, which is, in turn, the mocap is taking their movements and making them into their own avatars, which can change. So you've got a full-on artistic concert going on where they can time things with how they're playing, but also can change with the music. So they can completely change who they are or where they're at, depending upon the song. So technically, they can do a VR concert where they're all rendered 3D, but for each song, everything can change to what they want to represent that song. Like, case in point, you can have a song where they're talking about, like, pick a song and off the top of your head.
Let's say Mr. Crowley, Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay. Now, pick of a scene that would be cool to have. You can have Ozzy Osbourne sitting there screaming, and all of a sudden, he gets really big. And I'm not trying to remember the name of the song, but you can have the whole area around him completely changed.
Like he's in Stonehenge.
Exactly.
And yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The artistic creativity that you can do, that people could go with from this point it's endless. And it's exciting to think about what can happen and what hopefully will happen. There's so many different directions and so many different new things that can happen. Like take the current situation that we're in. We've got, the entertainment industry is at the moment it's sleeping. I'm not going to say it's dead, but it's sleeping.
No, yeah, it's currently in hibernation.
But you've got artists that are, releasing their live broadcasting videos where they're each in their own area playing a song, doing concerts, playing together. We're seeing the first steps into that. We've been seeing it for a while. This is as far as music videos go, this astronomical event that Travis Scott and Fortnite did, like I said, it's a step in the very right direction, in my opinion. And I would love to see it happen more, and I'd love to see people take advantage of this.
Exactly.
This idea and just take it to astronomical levels, if you don't mind me.
Yeah, I want to see more art. Like I said, this is what I would like to see. I want to see something like this was cool, but I want to see an entire music video. I want an artist to release a new song in Fortnite, or release a song in World of Warcraft, or release a new song. I want to see more artists involved, because it's not going to prevent them from going to concerts, but you're going to reach an audience. Like, I knew Travis Scott. I knew his songs. I didn't really know his name. Now I remember his name because of this. Like, there's so much recognition you can get from doing this.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just another way of doing artistic expression.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see this taking away from concerts because you're just putting yourself where the fans are. It's just another place you can put yourself in. And the amount of interest it's gotten this, the amount of views, like there's so many people that out of those 12.3 million people who didn't get to see it. I was one of them, and now I'm upset I didn't get to see it. So I'm going to be keeping my ear down for the next one that comes along.
Absolutely.
I want to see more artists do kind of this stuff.
This kind of thing, yeah. It's like I said, it's really exciting, and I really, to the artists out there who are trying to figure out ways of, reaching your audience in a different way, or even trying to reach new audiences. This is definitely an idea to jump on, and to those of you that are getting ready to coin or to borrow from AC/DC, I believe it was. No, yeah, I think it was AC/DC. For those of you about to do it, I salute you. I think it's really cool, and we're joined by 661 Flips now. He's
Retro Tom.
Yeah,
how you doing,
Retro
man?
Tom is with us. So what's happening, Retro? Appreciate you joining in.
How's it going? Yeah, so I can see, like I said, there's several different ways they can go about it. One, this was a scripted, so this was an event. It wasn't a concert. He did not perform. He was actually, there's a video out there of him behind his at his TV controlling his character, watching it. Because now what I'm curious is if Travis Scott did mocap on this, or if they just kind of did the motion that he normally does in videos. I'm curious to how they did it. Now, I know he was aware of it, obviously, but how much involved was he, or how much was he waiting to see? Because he didn't get to see the end product until the game. He got to watch it with everybody else, but he got to, he posted a live stream of it, and he was blown away. So I don't think he even got to see a lot of what they did and how impressive it was. Like, I've seen it in, like, here's the thing. In World of Warcraft, there was a band that actually started off. Oh, what was the band's name? But they were kind of this cover, not really a cover band, but they would dress up as Horde, and they would play some music. Well, they actually incorporated it in the game. They basically made the characters. They show up in Darkmoon Faire, and they perform on the stage.
Nice.
And it's really, really cool, but it's not alive. It's just all scripted. Much like this is all scripted. But I can see it getting more and more of this. I want to see more.
Yeah.
I want to see, and I'm trying to think of all the games you can possibly do it. Fortnite is a great game to do it in. They're really, really set up to do it. You can obviously tell
Retro said his kids were a part of the event. He said,
"Did you?
Really
what
cool
were they?
see.
What were their mind? How mind-boggled were they? Because I was blown but all I got to see was the video. I'm trying to think what else.
It would be really cool to be a part of something like that, even if you're just a player in the game. I mean, I'm not a big Fortnite player. Nothing against the game. I just I've played
It's
it
just
here
not
and there.
something that really you find a whole lot of fun. I know,
Absolutely. A lot
it's
of
a
people
great game.
have a great time playing it, and that's really cool. Sorry, I'm moving a lot and I'm shaking the camera.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that absolutely, like Ray said, and I said earlier, we'll definitely be keeping our ear to the ground for future events like this, because
I'm a little upset,
that's something
Retro,
that
you
I'd
didn't
really
say
like
anything
to
to
be involved in. But yeah, Retro didn't give us the heads up. What's up with that, man?
What's up, Retro? Why did you tell us it was happening?
Gonna be losing your spot on the couch, bro.
Yeah.
He said they were pretty amazed, actually. He wasn't a huge fan, but he loved watching them play it. And see, that's the cool thing about it is, it's just how it
That's
is,
something I would download Fortnite from my TV in the living room.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody knows my stereo in my living room, I'm a sound guy through and through, and I got tower speakers, like a huge sub. I want my neighbors to feel the movie I'm watching. That's what I'm getting at here.
He's like that. I don't always listen to heavy metal, but when I do, my neighbors do also.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those deals where I would have gladly put Fortnite on my PS4 just so I can crank it up on the TV. I want to see more of these.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think, what are some great games? So there's so many games with great scripting in it. Here's what I would like to see. I want to see a Black Sabbath done in Doom Eternal.
That would be really cool, but unfortunately, I think Black Sabbath has actually hung the microphones up this time as a band. I know each of the members are doing their own things, but I think Black Sabbath.
We
yeah.
at least see Ozzy doing it.
I would love that personally. I mean, I'm a Black Sabbath fan from way back.
I know what
But
the
now,
composer. No.
now
I would
Iron Maiden.
Ooh, well, I can see it. I can see. But are they producing any current music?
I am not sure.
No, you know what?
Honest.
You know who would be perfect? I would love to see with Warzone a music video done in Warzone by Five Finger Death Punch.
This could be interesting.
Come on, I'm putting the ideas out there. Come on, guys. Five Finger Death Punch in Warzone. What are some other games that are out there?
I would like to see, I don't know how many of you out there are familiar with a Swedish band called Lordi, Lordi. They are a horror-themed band. As in, they all have full-on
kind of like
prosthetic makeup. Yeah, like Gwar.
Okay.
Only not as, the costumes aren't as big, and bulky. But I would love to see them do a something like that in a horror themed game. That would be really cool. Ozzy was in the new Trolls movie. Oh yeah, Ozzy
so he's still doing stuff.
Ozzy was also in the.
What was he in the Troll movies?
I don't know about the new Trolls movie, but I know he was in the Gnomeo. The gnome movies, the garden gnome where they're the statues.
No clue.
Yeah, he was the deer. It was hilarious. The fawn of doom, I believe they called him. It was great stuff though.
Apex Legends. What's a good music video that can do it? Well, see, I don't know if Apex Legends. I don't think Apex Legends can do the scripting. Fortnite has a lot of scripting, and they've done a lot of scripting for a lot of the things they do. So I know it was relatively easy for them. Maybe a little bit of changes. I don't know about Apex Legends, but that is pretty big. What's some of the other big games that could easily do scripting? Warzone's kind of getting popular, but I can see Five Finger Death Punch would do a music video in there.
That would be an interesting one.
I
could see them doing it also.
Well, they do a lot of military themed stuff.
Yeah,
so I think they would be a good fit. Let's see here. Yeah, he plays rock and roll god basically, and he basically plays himself in a wheelchair. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's right. The Trolls World Tour. Retro, you've just given me a reason to watch this movie. I'm not sure if I should thank you or not, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a thanks for it.
Well, there you go. There you go. Oh, well, I mean, there's plenty of ideas out there, and I can easily see some music. Here's another thing I would like to see. Some music videos done in retro game engines. I can easily see that done because not so much playing the videos. Minecraft doesn't have... I mean, it could probably be done, but I don't think Minecraft's pretty small. There's not a huge scripting engine in there.
Okay.
I don't think for doing that kind of stuff. It could be. I could be wrong, but I don't recall seeing that kind of stuff. It's most of their stuff is like for doing stuff like that. Jason Warren, how you doing,
Jason,
man?
How you doing?
I'm trying to think what else. But there's so many, like they've been trying to do other things, but I really think music videos is the perfect fit for a lot of online massive multiplayer stuff.
I think so. I would have to agree with you on that.
And I want to see this stuff, and like I said, I'll start checking out Fortnite a little bit more if they're going to do music videos because I'm really into that kind of stuff. Basically, those artists putting themselves in games like in large games. Mm-hmm. If not into games, they can easily do a music video in a game, do a lot of script. Like I said, there's a bunch of old games that you can do full-on scripting for, add your music in, and build your music video in. I think it'd be really kind of cool. I think it's another aspect that a lot of people like. Video games and music have been together for so long. What was it? There was a hidden Commodore 64 program on a LP by some obscure artist from years and years ago. It wasn't discovered for here recently. So gaming and music have gone together for so long. I'm surprised this kind of mashup doesn't happen more often.
Yeah, I think it definitely needs to. It's something that needed to happen.
All right.
Need some five-finger death punch in Wreckfest, is what Retro says. I'm not sure what.
No,
what is,
there's not enough scripting in Wreckfest, I don't believe. I mean, there probably is, but who knows? Wreckfest is just a racing game. Or am I thinking the wrong one? I mean, it's good possible. I could see it happen.
I could see Judas Priest
Oh, okay,
in a
okay.
racing game. I could see them doing a concert in the middle of the.
What are some other very
the
popular?
track?
Borderlands 3 can easily do.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I want to see Justin Timberlake do Borderlands 3.
I want to see. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put this out there, and I'm gonna share this, and I'm gonna talk about it. I don't know how many of you are familiar with a band called the Bridge City Sinners, but
No.
I think they would be perfect in Borderlands in that world. Absolutely.
I just got called out. I just got called out. Justin, laugh out loud. Crazy. How you doing? Hi, Irish. Iris.
Iris.
I have a hard time with that because my daughter's name is Eilish. Yours, Iris. And I have rented lips. It doesn't quite, it's like the words just meh, meh.
Ray
So-
hasn't had his own lips since he was about 15 years old. He lost them.
Surgically
and,
implanted.
You know.
by a cheap cash only doctor. But my tongue can taste the happy juice. That's the important things are all that matter.
I'm not Irish, Felicia.
I know it. But that's honestly, I want to see more of this music stuff in games. I think Borderlands, even if it's not in game, if they release a music video that was rendered from a game. Because like I said, I love the fact, and I've got a few more and I need to find them. I have some Quake 2 demo files that were full-on videos. Like you just launch it and it plays it. And it plays the maps as people were playing it at that time. And I've got videos, like I said, I was showing him, the hardly working.
Yeah.
it played
Crazy
on the-
Iris just said, what about Tony Hawk Pro Skater? They had great music. Yes, music in games is one thing, but a music video like we're talking about with this astronomical event that happened, yeah, that's...
Yeah, well, here's
Tony
the other
Hawk
thing.
did have some really cool music in there.
And here's the thing. I understand why they're not doing it till today, because current consoles and current PCs can handle...
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, you could not do the Travis Scott thing on a Nintendo Entertainment, an NES or a Super NES. It couldn't have. Plus, they didn't have internet connectivity. Now all of them are connected, so
Couldn't
they
have
can.
even done it on a PlayStation, I don't think.
No, you probably could, but it looked like crap.
It'll look like, polygons.
Travis Scott would have had some really sharp nipples.
Yep. Which, I mean, hey, he might have some sharp nipples. We don't know.
Well, no. If you remember, that's the way Tomb Raider was.
That's right. Yeah.
Triangle boobs.
Triangle.
But
well, that took an interesting turn.
yeah. Well, I'm almost empty with my glass, so it's going to turn like that. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing more stuff like this. I thought the Travis Scott, whatever, the performance was absolutely amazing. It wasn't a concert, and those journalists that are calling it a concert, you obviously don't know what a concert means. Please go look up a dictionary.
When the entertainment industry gets rolling again, go to see some shows and learn what a concert is.
Yeah. I do want to see some live performances, but I can understand a lot of them. It depends upon the artist. The only way they can do it is in 2D. To do it in 3D to make justice of the game engine that they're in, it needs to be like mocap. There needs to be a whole bunch of stuff, but I can honestly see it happening. I really think we're really close to getting I don't say it's going to be a live concert. It's going to be a pre-recorded concert where they do one or two songs. They're going to do it in mocap. And then after that, they're going to do all the 3D rendering and manipulation to do stuff like this, but stuff that they performed live. or they performed right there specifically. It wasn't a re-recorded. It was a recording they did specifically for this event. I am so looking forward to these. I really want to see more of these. Kudos to all the absolute geniuses at Epic who put that together, that made that happen. I was completely mind blown when I saw it. Kudos to you guys. All of you guys that were involved in the working in this, you all did a fabulous, fabulous job. I was completely blown away with what I saw, because whereas a lot of music videos, they would do their best to use computer-generated graphics and other ways to try to convey that I'm gone to this, now I'm floating in water, now stuff. In a game engine, they did it. It was seamless. It was beautiful. I'm not going to say it was perfect, but it's damn amazing.
It was
what they
a
did.
wonderful first step. That's how I'm going to say it.
Oh, yeah.
It was a wonderful first step. And I hope more people jump on that bandwagon, because it's something that needs to happen. We need to see something different. From a fan's standpoint, I want to see more things like this.
Here's what I'm gonna propose that a company needs to do. I'm putting this out there because if I had the money, I would do it, but I'm putting it out there so we can see it. I want to see a company do a virtual concert venue out of the Unreal Engine 4 or Unreal 4 engine.
Okay.
It would all be pre-recorded. You have the artists and whatever, figure out what they wanted to perform. They do the mocap. Then they go through and do all the rendering and everything of the mocap. And basically produce a video, and you would literally just launch the game engine browser to watch the video.
Nice. I can see that.
Or they do this and they can develop that in for companies to then integrate into their games, much like Fortnite, where we're doing a music video release in Fortnite. We're doing a music video release in Warzone. We're doing a music video release in Borderlands 3. And at any given time, you can go back and watch it because it's all pre-recorded. It's all scripted engine.
Ooh, they could say we're doing a music video release on Pandora.
But, well, Pandora would be cool. But I'm talking about being able to be involved in the music video.
Well, right. No, that's what I'm saying. Isn't that what the name of the planet is? Pandora in Borderlands?
Oh, sorry. My apologies. When you said Pandora, I was thinking Pandora, the music app.
Oh, yeah. No. I was talking about the planet.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly, depending on who the artist was, I would either say you would either want to be, depending upon the artist, you may want to be on Athena's, you may want to be on, what's the planet that Jacobs was on?
I can't remember.
Eden 6.
There we go.
Yeah, it was Eden 6. I think Eden 6 would be an excellent place.
There we go.
For a couple of concerts.
We got a little bit. Jason just had to leave us. His lunch break is over.
Oh, cool, man. You have a good evening, man.
And crazy. We got on some in the chat that was on the subject of the situation ruining chances to see. Yeah, the Who.
That's Crazy Iris.
The Who, the Mongolian rock group, was going to be here
in town, and we missed that too.
We were not able to see that. They were going to be at the Dome, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. Well, I think we ran over a bit longer than we should. But we had some people showing up, and the chat kind of went crazy. So we wanted to keep this going a little bit longer. But we have run over our time by about 20 minutes.
Yes, but we kept it going for you because we care.
Yeah. We saw people going nuts. We had to keep going. We want to thank you guys for joining us. Those of you guys on YouTube here, thanks so much for joining us in chat. I was trying to keep up with it once it started taking off. Especially for those of you guys listening on the podcast on either Podbean, geez, what are they? We're on Spotify, Podbean, and on.
Are we on Amazon yet?
We're on iTunes.
iTunes?
Amazon, I don't think so.
Oh.
I can't remember if we're on Amazon or not.
Okay.
Amazon's like a whole different beast, and I don't think I figured that one out.
It's a monstrous animal.
It really is. But
Well, to all of you listening and all of you joining us, thank you. We love you.
So you guys have a great evening. Like I said, if you haven't watched the music video, the link's down below. Click on it. Go check it out. There's multiple of them out there to go check out. I thought it was absolutely fabulous to watch. Definitely update your routers. That's very, very important. And well, something else we got. Just make sure you wipe your butt. I guess I'm not gonna leave with that. So, you guys have a great evening. I just messed him up, which is kind of my thing, and I'm out of happy juice, so we have to call this now because my glass is empty. Love you guys.
You guys are great. Thank you. Don't forget, right down there somewhere is the like and subscribe button. We appreciate that. Share us with all of your friends and family and neighbors, and share us with people that you don't like. We're good with that.
Yep.
We'll see you next time, folks. Thank you.